massive flooding from an aerial perspective. Today, our reporter Sam Gituku has managed to make his way to the ground and now joins us on phone from that area for an update. A very good afternoon to you, Sam. How is the situation on the ground now that you're there?
Good afternoon to you, Fred. The situation remains dire as it has been for the past 3 weeks, because now actually the waters are sort of getting to maroon more villages in Tana River County, of course. From the images that we have seen, apart from the aerial shots that depict the kind of devastation, the kind of the water flooding that has been experienced in the county, now getting on the ground, you sort of start to feel the impact it has had on the populations here. And first of all, talking about some villages that are now getting to be cut off from the main transport networks, talking about the roads, talking about how they can access basic services, for instance, food supplies. They cannot even go to the usual markets that they would have to during normal weather situations. But now the question comes to the extent of how do they get assistance. Yesterday there was a group of leaders led by the governor of the county, that is Dabe Godana, who visited at that particular location, talking about Hewani village as well as Wema villages. Those are about 2 hours from Garsen, that is, you're right there by boat. But when they went there, theirs was just a message of expressing to the residents there that they need to be wary of the changing weather patterns, and they need to move to higher grounds. But now, of course, the residents saying that they do not know where those grounds are. Now, that shows you the situation as it is, talking about the threat that they face in terms of should the waters go up, then how do they get to be rescued? Talking about 2 hours from Garsen, where they can be in a position to move to safer grounds, then that becomes a challenge for a county that does not have.
Sam, you mentioned something very interesting there, sorry to cut you short, that the leaders are asking the people to move to higher ground. From the aerial shots
Yes.
we were seeing yesterday, there was nowhere where these people could move to.
Well, yes, it's quite ironical that such a call would be coming from the leaders who are also talking about 70% of the county population being affected. And if you had to use 70% of the population to reflect maybe the geographical location, then it should show you, because this is a lowland county that receives lots of water from the upstream, talking about from Garissa County, from the other counties of the eastern part of the country. So it becomes difficult for them. And actually the residents are talking about it, because they are saying that how do you tell them to move from where they are, and yet the last time they experienced such a situation was in 1961, when there was such kind of water, and every other time, even when there is El Nino rain, they have not had that situation of having to move out. But now they're saying that even if the waters come up, they'll only move if really they are pushed out by the water. So it's a tricky situation for both the residents as well as the county government, that is already admitting that they are not able to contain the situation as it is on their own, Fred.
And in terms of a humanitarian crisis, because it looks like that's where we're heading, can you quantify how big of a problem are we looking at in terms of numbers?
It's hard to give you the exact numbers, because even from the authorities talking about the county government and the Kenya Red Cross, they are also having difficulties to make an estimation. But coming from the understanding that the communication is that 64,000 people have been affected by this flooding situation, it begins to give an indication of how much food is required, because the figures that we have is that so far, 4,500 bags of rice have been released to the county, and then another 1,000 bags have been released, or that is 1,000 bags of beans have also been released to the county. But with 64,000 persons, talking about 12,000 families being affected, you see that you therefore see that one bag of rice will be shared by at least 3 families, and going with the average of each family having a size of about 6. That is so little food to really sustain them. And actually, the governor was saying that they need food assistance for at least 6 months, so that at least the situation can stabilize and people can return to their farms when the weather is better, to go and continue and do some farming, because all the crops that they had planted has already been washed away by the floods, and there's no hope of really getting anything from this season in as much as the flood situation remains as it is, Fred.
Thank you, Sam. Sam Gituku there on phone from Tana River, the one county that is perhaps the worst affected by flooding. We showed you